Hi, I'm Cameron, and for my Excel project, I decided to create Cameron's Casino, and I created 3 casino games. I'm originally from Las Vegas, so I thought it would be fun to create a little casino. When you open up my project, you're going to go to this Home tab. This is what it'll take you to first, and let's follow the instructions. Click here first. Have you always wanted to gamble, but you don't want to travel all the way to Las Vegas? If so, this game is for you. Click on any one of the following 3 games and navigate back to the Home tab, meaning this sheet. Anytime you want to play a different game, good luck. And then I have 3 buttons right here, which correspond to each of the following 3 tabs that you see down here. The way I inserted those buttons was using the Developer tab and Insert. You can insert various buttons and controls right here, and I use this Button tab. So let me show you the macros I used to create this. Okay, here are the macros for the Home tab. For each of the buttons, I told it that I was on this workbook in this sheet, and then I typed in the name of the sheet I want it to go to when you click on it. Note that you have to be very careful here because at one point I changed the name of the sheet and then it wouldn't work. So you need to make sure you have the exact name of the sheet in these quotation marks right here. And then this is the message box I use to tell it when you click the rounded rectangle, it populates with this. So let's go back to our workbook. Let's go ahead and start with the number slot machine first. For the number slot machine, I used a combination of a few things to create this. And by the way, for each of these 3 games, I used a different YouTube video to kind of teach me how to do it. And I replicated what they were doing in the YouTube video. And if you want to watch those YouTube videos, just go down here to the References tab, and you can watch the same videos and learn how to do what I'm explaining. On the number slot machine, I have instructions. Click the play button to begin. Goal is to get 3 of the same number in a row. How I created this was I used conditional formatting with each of these numbers are a different color. And when you hit play, it comes up with a message box. Are you ready? Click OK to play. We're going to click OK. And for each of these boxes right here, I use the ran between function between 1 and 3. And the goal is to get 3 numbers in a row. So let me show you the macro I used to create this. This is rectangle with rounded corners 3. So we're going to look at that. Here it is. So once again, this workbook, tell it this worksheet, number slot machine, the name of the sheet, range M5 to O5 and calculate. M5 to O5 are the numbers. So what I'm doing is I'm telling it that when you click on the play button, it will calculate. It'll populate and calculate with the result of M5 to O5, and M5 to O5, since it's the ran between formula, will change every time you click enter. So let's go back to the workbook and try to win. Once again, you have to get 3 in a row to win, which might be harder than you would think. You'll know when you win when you get 3 of the same color too. In this case, you won 3 of the same number. Congrats. Let's go back to the Home tab and pick our next game. Let's do the symbol slot machine next. The symbol slot machine I had a lot of fun creating because I got to use the Wingdings font, which I had never heard of before. So let's start over here and go to our Home tab. The Wingdings font has a bunch of symbols. Each letter and number corresponds to a different symbol. What I did was I numbered it 1 through 10 right here, and I picked 10 various letters that I just randomly typed. If you look, they're all just random letters, and each letter corresponds to a different symbol. And you can also name ranges, or name whatever you want in Excel, really. So I told this to be called draw results, and you'll see why in a second. Down here, I created 3 different reels. Reel 1, Reel 2, and Reel 3 correspond to each of these. And this number right here, these 3 in this column correspond to the ran between function, ran between 1 and 10. And remember that each number corresponds to a unique symbol. Here I use the VLOOKUP function to tell it that when you look for B17, which is the symbol, in the range, which I told you was called draw results, It's going to pull the second column, the symbol, and I want an exact match. So what happens now is you come over here to the play button. Watch what happens when you hit play. This will all change. You see that the numbers are changing right here. The goal to win this game is to get 3 of the same symbol in a row, which is actually kind of hard because there are 10 different numbers. So it can be a while before you win. Okay, we won. We won because we got 3 of the same number 5, which correspond to the symbol. 3 of the same symbol means you win. Oh, and I forgot to explain this on the number slot machine, but it's essentially the same function. I use the if and the and function right here to say that when these 3 symbols are the same, J8 equals N8, which equals R8. When all 3 equal, you win. If they don't equal, like let's hit this again, you lose. So that's the if and function. And on the number slot machine right here, it's the same thing. If M5 equals O5, M5 equals N5, all 3 equal, you win. If not, you lose. So on the symbol slot machine, when I submit this, I'm going to hide this column right here to just show the game. But that's the symbol slot machine. Let's go back to the home tab and introduce our last game. The Wheel of Fortune was the most complicated game I created. And the instructions say to click the play button to determine how many times to spin the wheel. Spin however many times you rolled, and you click anywhere on the wheel to spin. Record your score after each spin in the chart right here. If you spin bankrupt or lose a turn, you get $0. If your total score is more than $2,000, you win. And what I did right here is this is a sum function. So when you enter each of your scores, this will sum it up for you. And you win, I use the same if and and function. If S27, oops, this should be say 2000. We're going to do 2000 because it can, the number of spins. So that's how you change the function, by the way. If this is greater than 2000, you win. If not, you lose. So let's test it out. Let's do a lower number. 7 times. Okay. Spin. 1, 450. The only issue I'm having is when you click the play button, it changes. So just remember how many times you spun. We did 7. Free play. Okay. This is kind of right on the line, so I'm going to go with 600. Remember, we get an extra spin. 300. Bankrupt. Uh-oh. 0. Oops. I think that's at 800. 400. 900. One more time. Free play. Okay. Go 2 more times. Right on the line. Go 600. One more time. Bankrupt. 0. Look. Oops. We won because that's still over 2000. So this macro right here is this is just the ran between function, the same thing I've been using. So I won't show you that. The play button just tells this to calculate. But I want to show you the macro I used for the wheel because it was kind of complicated. So with the wheel, let me show you the macro. The wheel is actually a picture I found from Google. I essentially had to tell the picture to spin. The way I did this was I called it wheel. The picture is called wheel. The active sheet.shapes. So that's telling it that when I inserted the image, the shape just corresponds to the image. Increment rotation, and this is the number of degrees. T equals timer, do while timer is equal to 1. So that's just kind of with the T, the different variables that it needed to know how to spin. And I wanted it on a loop. So when you click on it, it'll continue, it'll just spin. I can change the degrees at any time from I equals 1 to I equals 100. So I think it can spin up to 100 times. And I can also change this number if I wanted to. But this is just the number of degrees. When there was another macro I did before this, The only problem with that was I couldn't stop spinning. So this is what I decided to do, just have it spin once in the same degrees every time you click. And since the dollar amounts are random on there, you won't score the same thing every time. And that is that macro. So let's go back to our share. Again, that's the macro that when you click this, it will spin a certain number of degrees every time. And this tells you how many times to spin, record your score here, and you win. So that is my project. If you have any questions, please let me know.